Killing the Odin Ravens in God of War Ragnarok gives you a very nice armor set that you can already get early on. Plus I want to highlight the build that I've been using the most throughout my journey, as it really wrecks. I will tell you how to get it and highlight other amazing items that you also do not want to miss, without of course any story spoilers. So if you are enjoying God of War Ragnarok and like the videos here on the channel, then leaving a like would really help me out. And let's go. You've probably already killed a few of Odin's ravens, right? That, just like in the previous game, are hidden in the many realms. Well, if you go to Niflheim in Ragnarok, which you can access after Svartalfheim, so very early on in the game, you find a large tree with Odin's ravens and 6 chests in front of them. The first chest on your left requires 6 ravens before you can open it, and when you can, you already get the waste of the raven tears. The second chest requires 12 ravens and gives you the bracers, and the chest piece can be found in the third chest, which requires you to kill 18 ravens before you can open it. Now you could argue that only getting the first 2 pieces is already great. I will tell you why in a moment. But overall, keep an eye out for these ravens, do the optional content, and then you will be able to open these chests pretty fast. I will also leave a spoiler-free guide from Polygon for the early game ravens in the video description. Because this armor set is worth it, and not only for the look, it has a really cool visual effect after upgrading it. I think it's one of the only outfits with like an animated sort of effect, really like it, but also because of the perks. Hitting enemies namely has a low luck chance to grant healing mist when you wear the chest. So this is a healing over time for 10 seconds, but that low luck chance is really the downside, because even with an average luck stat, it would still not appear very often. It does help to use the blades, as then you hit enemies faster and can also hit multiple enemies with one swing, but with the axe it appeared very rarely for me on this level 5 Kratos save. Runic attacks also do not seem to trigger it, so it's really only weapon hits. But yeah, when you trigger it, it is a nice average amount of healing that you get. But that is also because of the other 2 items of this set. The bracers and waste namely increase the healing from health stones, rage and gear by up to 30% if you wear both items at the same time. So yeah, this is also great to get more out of the many health stones you will find, and for your rage, giving you way more health back from a full fury use by punching high health enemies. And the second rage you unlock, called Valor, benefits from this too, as that's a pure heal that also restores any status effects you have on you, and if you do this when the enemy is about to hit you, you negate the damage and get a nice strength buff as well. But again, the armor pieces also mention healing increases for gear, and next to the chest piece from this Raven set, you could also combine it with the chest piece from the Nidavellir set that I talked about in my previous video, which I will link to at the end of this one. This of course gives you a healing on a stun grab. It's a pretty great combination. But there's also other gear like the shield attachment, Rund of the Restoration, and I hope I pronounced that right, that on taking damage gives you a short window to do a shield strike, which then also gives you health back if you hit the enemy. And yes, the healing you get from this is increased by wearing both the gloves and the waist. I've been rocking this a lot, by the way. I really love it, and you can find it during the main story visit to Helheim. Then at one point you reach the abandoned village, change the crane here so you can enter this extra area, and then you will find a Draugr hole. I totally used the extra areas to throw a lot of upgraded axes. I was able to kill it. If you then return to the hole, you can crouch under here, get into a house, and there you will find the chest with this amazing shield attachment. So before we look at my favorite gear set so far, of course don't forget to subscribe if you liked the video, and check the pinned comment, because we got way more Ragnarok content like this. So now it's time for the armor set that I used the most during my journey, Lunda's Lost Cuirass. Like this set wrecks because barehanded attacks, parrying and blocking have a high luck chance to deal poison damage. Like in my experience, it almost always triggers, especially on those barehanded attacks, which you can of course easily do by pressing down on the D-pad or throwing your axe first. And the thing with poison is that you lower an enemy's level, which will then change in real time, sometimes impacting the color of their health bar, which of course indicates the level difference. Okay, real quick, so if an enemy has a yellow health bar, they are on your level. I now change one gear piece and go from level 5 to 4, and then the enemy has an orange health bar. Purple means that they are 2 levels higher than you, and 3 or higher is a red health bar with a skull next to it. So you know that you probably should not bother, as you won't do a lot of damage and they will quickly kill you. So again, with poison you can nuke their level by 1, which is especially handy against bosses and mini bosses. And by the way, versus these bosses with the large health bar, you will not see their level, but thanks to the color indication, you still know which level they are. Now it gets better though, because you will also deal 40% increased melee damage against poisoned enemies if you wear both the gloves and the waist of this Lunda set. So you already deal more damage because they are a lower level, and now your overall melee damage is increased as well. Like, you can drop large health bars in no time, and of course using your bare hands also means that the enemies are stunned faster, so you can also trigger the R3 attack way more often. I got some extra tips and nice items you want to use with this armor set, but first, how do you get it? Well, it's in Helheim. No story spoilers of course, but after the main mission here, you'll have the choice to explore other parts of the realm, and you totally want to do this. Then look out for 3 red chests that will contain broken pieces, and then bring them back to the blacksmith to make them into a real armor set. You find the first piece over here on the map. It's behind a lock that you can open at this point, so then you will find the waist. The second piece is over here on the map near the cliffside ruins. After taking out the enemies, you want to climb up here, and then on your left hand side you will find the chest with the bracers, and you find the final piece over here on the map. It's in a cave, and you will get there with your boat after opening a gate. It's all pretty straightforward, don't want to spoil too much. You will eventually get there, but make sure you enter this cave, go to find the chest here, and then bring the pieces back to the blacksmith to get this amazing set. Now actually really close to that second piece, so again that would be over here on the map, you find my favorite heavy runic attack for the axe. You want to throw your axe and then recall it to destroy the pots, and they can get to the chest. With this Mist of Helheim, you drop your axe on the ground, deal damage, and then create an area of effect hazard that builds up the frost status to all enemies over time. This is really powerful, especially after upgrading it to both increase the duration and the size of the hazard. Like, if an enemy doesn't move that often, then you will very easily build up the frost status effect to slow them down even more, and because you drop your axe on the ground, you're also immediately barehanded, so can go crazy and apply the poison to those enemies for the increased damage with the Lunda armor. Totally use 3 of the Helheim enchantments, because this will increase your melee damage against status afflicted enemies, which includes the frost effect from the heavy runic attack, and of course the poison from the armor. And another amazing item you want to use in combination with the Lunda set is the Hilt of Dainsleif. This relic namely drops acid puddles on the ground in front of you, which will then very easily deal poison damage to the enemies that stand in it, so you get increased damage without even using your fist. I will likely go more in depth on how to make this build even better, but for now, early game and throughout most of your journey, this is amazing. And to get the material for the relic, we want to head to Svartalfheim. You can only go here though after reaching a certain point in the main story. This is when extra side content in that realm opens up. You will know when you reach that point. Then over here on the map you will find a special enemy. Kill that to get the extra material, and then you can make this amazing relic at the blacksmith, and I also upgraded it to make it even better. Subscribe if you haven't already, we got way more Ragnarok content coming your way and already up on the channel. A like would of course really help me out, and check out our previous video on the best armor sets that you can get a little earlier than this. Totally recommend it as well, and in the pinned comment you find other videos. So, we'll speak to you then. For now, goodbye.